Tani is an unbelievably strong chess master. At the age of 11, has defeated players Hans Niemann and holds a 2-1 record against Hikaru. Already holding a rating of 2,295, Tani has proven to be a fearsome opponent against every player he challenges. But what happens when Tani takes on the best chess player in the United States? This is Fabiano Caruana, currently ranked number 2 in the world. He's defeated the likes of Magnus Carlsen and chess legend Anatoly Karpov, holding the highest ever performance rating in a single tournament of 3,098. Almost nobody can defeat him at his best. And while this was supposed to be a cakewalk for Fabiano, Tani had other ideas. Tani starts by moving his pawn to e4, the same opening move he played in his match against Hikaru. Fabiano responds with c5, going for the Sicilian defense. Tani plays knight f3, evolving the game into the Sicilian Open. Fabiano initiates the first exchange on d4 and immediately develops his kingside knight while Tani reinforces his d square with his bishop. Fabiano challenges Tani's e3 bishop with his knight. Tani responds with queen d2, and while he intended to deter black's knight, Fabiano is willing to trade the pieces regardless. Tani has the chance to take the knight with his queen, but opts to trade knights on the c6 square. Unfortunately, this was a big mistake. By not taking Fabiano's knight on e3, Tani gives up a free pawn, while also allowing his king to be checked, forcing him to take black's c2 knight with his queen. This would put him down a piece, as Fabiano now has a free turn to take his c-file knight. A costly exchange, especially against the second best player in the world. Tani, looking for a way to even the odds, plays bishop c4, applying some pressure to white's kingside developments. Fabiano counters with e4, halting any attempt to put his king in check. After a few more moves are played, Tani brings his knight to e4, trying to bait Fabiano into trading with his pawn. But doing so exposes a massive hole in Tani's defense, which Fabiano quickly exploits, shifting his queen to a5, putting black's king in check and forcing Tani into an unfavorable position. Tani must trade queens, knowing he can't afford to give up another free piece, and Fabiano is happy to oblige him. However, this was a huge mistake, as after the exchange, Fabiano had another easy capture on c4, taking Tani's remaining bishop. And even though Tani is able to recapture the c4 square with his knight, he loses another valuable piece, only gaining a pawn in return. Unfortunately, this would not be the end of Fabiano's attack, playing rook b8, targeting the weak pawn structure on white's queenside. Tani responds with pawn b3, strengthening his b-file pawn and his knight. But Fabiano is relentless, playing bishop a6, immediately pressuring the c6 knight, trying to open a lane for his back rank rook. Not wanting to play a retreating move, Tani decides to put his knight on d6, putting Fabiano in check, forcing him to capture the d6 knight with his bishop. And while Tani has a chance to gain back some ground by capturing the d6 bishop with his rook, he makes another mistake. Tani takes the d6 bishop with his e5 pawn instead, allowing Fabiano to trap the d6 pawn with his king. After a few more turns, Fabiano is able to open the b-file, giving his rook a clear path to put white's king in check. Tani, low on materials, has no choice but to trade his rook, allowing Fabiano another free pawn on c4, putting him up another piece. Both players take a couple more turns to develop their late-game positions before Fabiano brings his rook to b2, offering Tani yet another rook trade. Fabiano knows he's up a bishop. If he can take Tani's last rook, it's only a matter of time before he finds his win condition. But Tani plays a strong move, shifting his rook to g3. Knowing Fabiano will take his rook, he can at least recapture with his h or f-file pawn, creating a stronger pawn formation, making the best of a bad situation. While Tani is showing great resilience, Fabiano is lethal in endgame positions and plays bishop g2, capturing another pawn, increasing his material advantage. Tani shows no signs of quitting. His only hope will be to prolong the match to a draw, since he no longer has enough pieces to force a win. Tani attempts to push his a-file pawn up the wing to buy some time, but it will not be enough as Fabiano closes the gap on white's king, confining it to the corner. With his king and bishop already in position, Fabiano plays pawn g3, checkmating Tani's king. While Tani put up an admirable effort, the gap between a prodigy and a world champion proved to be too wide to overcome.